What's going on, Jerome's? So all off season, we've talked about how Kirk Cousins is the domino that's going to affect the rest of free agency and the draft at the quarterback position. But actually, it's the brain trust over at the Crooked Chicago Bears, and notably, they're going to take back the division, never give it back. It's going to be great. But will they draft Caleb Williams or another quarterback at 1? And will they trade Justin Fields? Notably, Justin Fields potentially to the Falcons. It seems like the Falcons and potentially the Steelers are the ones to watch for. But it just feels like Falcons and Fields like fit hand in glove. Absolutely. And Ryan Poles at the Combine talked about trading Justin Fields and potentially doing it before free agency. Schefter, go. Bears GM Ryan Poles said that today, if the team decides to draft a quarterback with the number 1 overall pick, he doesn't think it would be right not to trade Justin Fields before free agency begins. Now, free agency is coming up in about 2 weeks legal tampering on March 11th and new league year on March 13th. But in reality, free agency starts now. With all the GMs in Indianapolis, all the agents, like things will get done, things get talked about. It's just so stupid that they pretend it doesn't. But this is a good move by Ryan Poles, and it's very classy because if they go in a different direction with Justin Fields, remember, Poles and Eberflus did not draft Justin Fields. The previous regime did, but they're still being classy about it because if they trade him now, he would be installed as a starter in his new spot. Maybe he'll even have some say in potential destination if similar packages are comparable. But if they traded him after free agency and especially after the draft, I mean, those jobs could be filled and he may not be guaranteed a legit opportunity to start in 2023. So this is smart. Also, if they trade him now, then they can prepare for the draft with that extra draft ammunition. Probably not a first. I know that they're looking for a first. I think that the most that they will get is a second, maybe some change for Fields at this point. But I feel like they've already decided because if they were going to run it back with Fields, they would know. I feel like they would already announce it, although maybe playing cards close to the vest could help with leverage and trades, but who knows? Who knows, man? But between now and the start of free agency, when Poles said he allegedly wants to trade Justin Fields, they're not going to see Caleb Williams throw. They're not going to see Drake May throw because it ain't thrown at the Combine. So I think their mind is already made up. And frankly, if we find out in the next, 48 hours that Justin Fields is being traded to Team XYZ, it wouldn't shock me. So long story longer, if Justin Fields is indeed traded to the Falcons, that takes Kirk Cousins' number 1 free agency destination off the table, right? And Raheem Morris, new head coach of the Falcons, he and Fontenot are going to be making this decision. And Morris is pretty blunt. So NFL and CBS, Atlanta Falcons coach Raheem Morris says they want a quarterback who is the best fit for our city. People are going to read into those words whatever. So what does that mean? Like, what does it mean to be the best fit for the city of Atlanta? Now, you could say Kirk Cousins because no one says Atlanta like Kirk Cousins. He just doesn't, man. But Kirk's wife is from Georgia. Yeah, okay, whatever. But again, the best fit for our city. What if there was a quarterback who was born in Kennesaw, Georgia, outside of Atlanta, who went to high school in Kennesaw, was a number 1 5-star recruit out of Georgia, went to Georgia for a year before bouncing to the Ohio State and lighting the world on fire? What if I told you that there was a quarterback that was available there? That's why I do think it is a fait accompli. And I feel like, Kirk with the Falcons, it's not a natural fit because the Falcons are such a young team, and I don't think that they are just a quarterback away. But Fields is a young quarterback that they can build off of. Plus, if they pick up his 5th-year option, he's still on his rookie deal for 1 more year, so you do have that benefit of your starting quarterback on his rookie deal. So I think that I think that such a young team, there will be a lot more energy and fervor, and plus that Super Bowl window would potentially be open-ended as opposed to if they brought in Kirk, it would just be a couple years. So I think that I do think that Fields would be should and could be way more enticing for the Falcons, or potentially even looking into the draft for a quarterback over Kirk. But I guess we'll see. But the whole thing about it is if Atlanta is off the table, all of a sudden, Kirk Cousins' largest potential suitor could be gone, and the Vikings would have a ton of leverage yet again. Because if Atlanta is gone, New England has a number 3 overall pick. I could see them going quarterback. Also, they're more than just a Kirk Cousins away from contending. And with Vegas, they do have the number 13 overall pick. That's correct, right? Yeah, number 13 overall. And also, I do think that they are more than just a Kirk away, right? And the Steelers, the Steelers may think that adding Kirk Cousins over Kenny Pickett, over Mason Rudolph would give them a better shot. I agree. And they do have the number 20 overall pick, so they would be likely out of range of the first wave of quarterback. So I could see them, especially if they don't get Fields. Although, if and when the Broncos cut Russell Wilson, would he be in play with the Steelers, especially since they're tight against the cap? And return to Washington, I don't know. Washington has a number 2 overall pick. They'll probably go quarterback there. And I don't know, like starting off a new ownership regime, there's not a lot of buzz around old-ass Kirk Cousins at 36, as opposed to starting over with your new future franchise quarterback, selling all those jerseys, man. Washington fans would just get their old 8 jerseys out. But so I do think that it is a spot where if and when Justin Fields is traded to the Falcons, I think that it exponentially increases the Viking chances of getting back with Kirk Cousins. Because right now, hell, just for ease of math, if you said it was 50-50, that Kirk is back 50-50 with crystal ball, if Kirk is back here in Minnesota or goes elsewhere, if Atlanta leaves the table, I think it goes to 90-10. I think that's how large of a player Atlanta could be in free agency with Kirk Cousins. And for the Vikings, if Kirk is back, I still think that they could potentially go quarterback at 11. I don't see them trading up, especially up into the stratosphere and giving out multiple firsts, especially if it's a multi-year extension with Kirk. I do think that the Vikings would go all in to try and build a Super Bowl contender around him as that window is open for just a minimal amount of time. But yeah, the longer this thing goes along, plus, hearing Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell talk about Kirk at the combine, and then Kirk, with the whole Kirko Grills thing, and also the word that he's at the facility rehabbing part-time, I think they get back together, and I think it's a reasonable number, but we'll see. We'll see, man. But here's what's going to happen. For a fact that Caleb Williams, if he goes to Chicago, is going to bust. And then Justin Fields with a hot Atlanta with good protection and weapons all around him and working with Zach Robinson is going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You know that's going to happen. I love it, man. I love it. But your thoughts are thoughts. Will the Bears trade Justin Fields to Atlanta, and how does that affect Kirk Cousins? Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.